Hello and welcome to Caroline's Library, where we dive into the world of manga, anime, and more. It's time for spoiler-free honest reviews, and today we are talking about Jujutsu Kaisen. And oh boy, do I have so many thoughts on this series, so let's just steamroll right into this with a quick story setup, some pros, and some cons. Jujutsu Kaisen's story starts off with our main man, Yuji Itadori, a normal high schooler living a normal life trying to avoid joining the school's track and field club. That is until he finds a cursed item, and suddenly he is thrust into a world of sorcerers and curses fighting an age-old conflict. So what will our boy Yuji have to become in order to survive? Okay, right. Let's just roll through some of what makes this series worthwhile. For me, the biggest thing this series has going for it are the characters and character interactions. Jujutsu Kaisen has diverse individuals with complex and interesting personalities. Looking at three of the main guys, we've got Yuji, who is a courageous, friendly, and kind person with a moral code that routinely struggles against the Jujutsu sorcerer way of life. His friend Megumi is a serious, earnest, and at times crabby character who struggles to reach his full potential. And then there's Yuji's mentor, Gojo, who is a complicated person who alternates between a goofy, laid-back personality and a calculating, cold personality. Alongside these three, there are many other characters with their own internal battles and dispositions. The author even develops charming antagonists, and I ended up liking quite a few of them. With this huge cast of characters, not all of them will get detailed backstories and character arcs, but for the main crew, the character development is well done and refreshingly realistic. And to balance out some of these intense personal growth moments, there are some truly entertaining and fun interactions. Jujutsu Kaisen can be a very dark and depressing story, especially in later volumes. But the day-to-day conversations help to add some levity and humor. As for most of these characters, they are Jujutsu sorcerers, meaning that they are trained to battle cursed spirits using cursed techniques. And we are introduced to a truly mind-blowing amount of cursed techniques. Some of them are super intuitive and easy to understand, while others seem to be intentionally confusing. But more on that later. For now, let's dive into some of my favorite techniques. First up, cursed speech, which is the ability to put cursed energy into vocal commands to make what you say a reality. Next, we've got blackbird manipulation, and as a bird lover, I do feel slightly bad about including this one, but it's the ability to control crows so you can use them for surveillance and fatal attacks. Fatal as in fatal to the bird. Moving on, there's the 10 Shadows technique where you can summon Shikigami who fight alongside you. The reversed curse technique, which allows you to heal yourself and others. And the ridiculously overpowered copy technique, which lets the user replicate other sorcerers' techniques. Cool, so that covers 5 of them, and good luck learning the rest of them. Which brings me back to possibly the most controversial thing I'll say in this video. If the reader has to go to YouTube in the hopes of finding a video to explain what is happening, then the author has failed. Sorry, not sorry. Some volumes even include complicated explanation pages that are basically info dumps, and sometimes they admit that techniques can be confusing and barely pass scrutiny. To be clear, that is a direct quote. Sometimes the curse technique itself is confusing, like with Gojo's abilities, and other times you think you understand what someone can do until they use an entirely new ability that comes out of nowhere. To me, it felt like the author was absolutely winging it. But to be fair to the author, it is admitted later on in the volumes. So Jujutsu Kaisen could benefit from a magic system overview at the start of each volume. It is literally the poster child for a series that needs a magic system reference guide. And because of these complicated curse techniques, it can be hard to follow along in the manga during a battle scene. This is where the anime adaptation thrives. The show did an incredible job of bringing these abilities and battles to life. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the anime is better than the manga. And to wrap up my complaints, let's not ignore the gaping hole that holds all of the plot holes in this story. As a fantasy lover, I understand that with fantasy, you need some imagination, creativity, and blurry logic. But there's a line in the sand that Jujutsu Kaisen just steps right over without any explanation. Consider a couple of examples. In this world, average humans typically cannot see curses. So what happens after a building gets destroyed because of a cursed spirit fight? Do people think buildings just spontaneously collapse on their own? What does a non-sorcerer think when they are dragged into a situation where a sorcerer and cursed spirit are fighting? That they're just fighting the air? Why does a sorcerer or spirit suddenly use a new ability with no rationale? I wish the author had put a little more effort into these foundational details to make the world building a bit more structurally sound. Alright, that's the review. Am I enjoying Jujutsu Kaisen? I'm not sure if that's the word I would use. I'm intrigued by parts of the story and I want to learn more. The author's execution on certain story arcs, characters, and techniques can be lackluster or annoying. But I am bought in on some of the characters and I want to know how the story will progress. So for now, I'll keep reading. But sometimes I do wish that a different author had had this idea and written this story because it feels like it's gone off the rails one too many times. Thanks for popping on to watch this review. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe for more content each week. And until next time, happy reading.